What is going on, everybody? It is me again, it's RFan34, and welcome back to another video. And I guess welcome back to another collection and discussion video. I've been doing a lot of these lately, so I figured I'd do another one for you guys. So why not pick another actor that I have, in my collection of their movies. So, I didn't realize how many movies of this actor I had. I had quite a bit of them, so I figured this would be a good video to do. But it's my Charlie Sheen collection. So basically I'm going to showcase every single Charlie Sheen film that I have that's in my movie collection. Now, Charlie Sheen is one of those guys I really like as an actor. Sadly, like nowadays, he's loony cuckoo and things like that, sadly. But back in the day, he did a lot of really good stuff. A lot of fun movies, a lot of really good ones, like really good dramatic movies and things like that. Some of them I don't have. I don't have like Wall Street or Lucas or things like that. I don't own those movies, but I do have quite a bit of stuff of his. So let's get on to my Charlie Sheen collection. So I have them all right here. The first one I have here, like I said, I do all of these movies in order from the earliest of his filmography to his later filmography. But Red Dawn is the first film I have of his. Love this movie a lot. It's one of my favorite films from the 80s, from 1984, and this cast is phenomenal. Patrick Swayze, C. Thomas Howell, Leah Thompson, Charlie Sheen, Jennifer Grey. You also have Ben Johnson, Harry Dean Stanton, William Smith, who was Conan's dad in Conan the Barbarian, Powers Booth. I mean, just a hell of a cast of people. Directed by John Milius. Yeah, John Milius directed this film. And I hated the remake of this with Chris Hemsworth and Josh Peck. Didn't care for the remake, but this is far better. Basically, by 8 teenagers, go and try to fight off against these people that are trying to take over their place, pretty much. It's a really well done flick, and I think the cast does a great job as well. Really nice DVD as well. It has a really great making of documentary on the making of the movie. But love Red Dawn. Now, Charlie Sheen only has a cameo in this, but it's a really funny cameo that he has. It's one of my favorite parts of the movie, but he is in this. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. He plays the guy who, Jennifer Grey, ironically enough, they both were in Red Dawn together, and Jennifer Grey plays the sister of Matthew Broderick, Ferris Bueller, and she's at the cop station, and Charlie Sheen's there waiting in there as well, and they strike up a conversation, and they kind of have like a little bit of romance at the end, but Charlie Sheen is really funny in this at the cop station. This is a really fun movie. Matthew Broderick, Alan Ruck, Mia Sara, Jeffrey Jones as the principal. Edie McClurk from the Hogan family is in here as well. Probably my second favorite John Hughes film behind Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I love Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Then you get to one of my personal favorites of Charlie Sheen, Platoon. Definitely one of the best war films out there. Directed by Oliver Stone. Great cast of people: Charlie Sheen, Tom Berenger, Willem Dafoe. Even have small appearances by like Tony Todd. Just a really well done Vietnam movie. I mean, what more can you say about won Best Picture at the Academy Awards in 1986? So it's a really great flick. Love Platoon. Definitely one of my personal favorites of Charlie Sheen. Then you get to another one of my personal favorites of Charlie Sheen, Young Guns. Love this movie a lot. I was thinking about, I mentioned it in another video how I was thinking about like Tombstone being my favorite Western, but after watching this again, I'd probably say this is my favorite Western, and then Tombstone would be second. I love Young Guns a lot. Great cast of people based on Billy the Kid. I mean, Emilio Estevez, Kiefer Sutherland, Luke Diamond Phillips, Charlie Sheen, Dermot Mulroney, Casey Shamasco. You also have Terry O'Quinn from The Stepfather. You have Jack Palance as the bad guy. Terrence Stamp. directed by Christopher Kane. Just a great Western film. Thought these guys did a great job back and forth between them. Charlie Sheen's great in this, and just a really great Western. Love Young Guns. Then you get on to another one of my personal favorites of Charlie Sheen, Major League. I actually showed this before when I did my Wesley Snipes collection, but Charlie Sheen is one of the main stars of the film as well. He's like one of the best parts of the movie as this convict guy who's a great pitcher. Also has Tom Berenger, who they were both in Platoon together, which is interesting. You also have Corbin Burnson, who was the dentist himself. Like I said, Wesley Snipes. You have James Gammon, Rene Russo. Yeah, one of the best sports movies ever. It's definitely one of my personal favorite sports movies. One of my favorite films from the 80s. One of my favorite comedy films. Love Major League. Here's another one of my personal favorites of Charlie Sheen. I love this movie a lot. Men at Work. Directed by Emilio Estevez. Written and directed by Emilio Estevez. Also stars him and Charlie Sheen together. Really fun, dark comedy film where Charlie Sheen and Emilio Estevez are garbage men. They find a dead body in one of the cans and they get all into crazy hijinks. You have Keith David, who was in They Live and all that stuff in here as a guy who goes along with their plan. Keith David is hilarious as shit in this movie. He's just absolutely hysterical. You have Leslie Hope, who was in Bruiser. You have Dean Cameron, who was Chainsaw in Summer School. He plays a pizza delivery guy who gets kidnapped. You have John Getz, who was in the Fly remake, is in here as one of the other bad guys, or as one of the villains. But Men at Work's a really fun, dark comedy. And then surprisingly enough, you get onto my favorite Charlie Sheen film. Probably going to surprise a lot of people. My favorite Charlie Sheen film, The Rookie. Really underrated buddy cop flick with him and Clint Eastwood. I thought this was a really entertaining, fun movie. You also have Raul Julia as the main villain. Sonia Braga, directed by Clint Eastwood. I just think this was just a highly entertaining movie. I thought Charlie Sheen and Clint Eastwood did a great job together. And I just love The Rookie. It's easily my favorite Charlie Sheen film. Hot Shots, the first movie. Really fun parody based on Top Gun, pretty much. I like the cast in here. You have Charlie Sheen. You also have Cary Elwes, who was in Twister and the first Saw film. Valeria Golino, who was in Rain Man. She was Tom Cruise's girlfriend in Rain Man. John Cryer, who would work with Charlie Sheen later in 2.5 Men. You also have Bill Irwin, Lloyd Bridges, Ryan Stiles is in this from Whose Line Is It Anyway, and also was in 2.5 Men. Directed by Jim Abrams, who did Airplane. Just a really fun parody on Top Gun. Then you get on to another one of my favorites of Charlie Sheen. This is one of his most underrated movies. I think this was made for HBO. I know it was made for TV. I believe this was made for HBO. I could be wrong, but I think it was. But Beyond the Law. Really good dramatic film for Charlie Sheen, where basically the idea is Charlie Sheen's character is a cop who goes undercover in this biker gang headed by Michael Madsen, which deals with like arms trafficking and drugs and things like that. And little by little, Charlie Sheen's character is getting more delved into the gang, and he's already getting brainwashed a little bit because the cops really want Charlie Sheen to bust this biker gang, but he's so being delved into the biker underground, he starts to like lose his mind a little bit. It's a really good drama film for Charlie Sheen. It's one of his most underrated performances. You also have Linda Fiorentino, who was in Dogma. Michael Madsen, of course, was in Reservoir Dogs. You have Courtney B. Vance as the main guy who hires Charlie Sheen to go undercover. You have Leon Rippey, who was in films like Maximum Overdrive, Eight-Legged Freaks, and things like that. You have Rip Torn in a small role. May rest in peace, Rip Torn. But Beyond the Law is a really underrated Charlie Sheen film. Then, you know, another one of my favorites, it's my favorite of the two of them, Hot Shots Part 2. Really fun movie. Here's another one that I love of Charlie Sheen, The Arrival. Comes in this double pack, but I love the first one. Really good sci-fi kind of like movie with Terry Polo and Ron Silver. Here's another one of his most underrated movies, Under Pressure, also known as A Bad Day on the Block. It's funny they credit him as Charles Sheen, but Charlie Sheen's character is a firefighter who has a really bad of a temper problem, and he takes this family next door hostage because he's all messed up in the head and things like that. Directed by Craig R. Baxley, the same guy that did I Come in Peace with Dolph Lundgren, Stone Cold with Brian Bosworth, Action Jackson with Carl Weathers. And he also did Rose Red as well, the Stephen King miniseries. But I think this is a pretty underrated movie. Really fun buddy film right here with him and Chris Tucker. Money Talks. I think this is a really fun action buddy comedy where Chris Tucker is like a hustler guy and he gets paired up with Charlie Sheen who has to prove his innocence, and it's a really fun buddy cop, or not really a buddy cop, but more like a buddy comedy action movie. And the last of Charlie Sheen's that I have in my collection is Being John Malkovich, where he plays, I believe himself. It's a really weird movie. I feel like it's a film that doesn't get talked about much anymore, but back then it really was talked about quite a bit back in 1999. But so there you have it. That's my entire Charlie Sheen collection. So hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you guys next time. You guys take care.